Welcome to Subramani. So much has changed in many of the things that we do, right? Whether it is grabbing water from a fridge, it was unheard of till say 1915 in the US, and I think till the 1990s it was not so common in our houses. That's not very far away. That you're talking of just about 100 years back, maybe 120 years back, right? Or taking a flight to go anywhere. This is not more than say 20 years back. Say 30 years back, you wouldn't have taken a private plane to go unless in case of an absolute emergency. You just couldn't get tickets, somebody has died, or only in such circumstances. Today everybody takes a flight because of whatever reasons, right? This is not so much with technology, this is more to do with pricing. Not very long back you paid for your telephone depending on the time or how much time you spoke and the distance. So a Bombay New York call was far more expensive than a Mumbai Chennai call or a Nariman Point to Parel call, right? There was a local call, there was a domestic within the country call and an international call. They were priced very differently, and it used to cost a bomb to talk internationally. Airfares used to be high, telecommunication costs used to be high, right? So all those costs were very high, but things have changed. And when things change, you can see that change only at a later date. Initially, you can't even imagine that telephone prices would come down so much, and since telephone communication costs will come down so much. But of course the whole thing has been compensated by paying a bomb for the phone that you use. Of course, calling it a phone is not right, because it's a camera, phone, voice recorder, alarm clock, all that built into it. But whatever it is, no telephone instrument used to cost 1.5 lakhs when we were young. It used to be a big black box given to you by MTNL, or that time it was called Bombay Telephones or something like that, right? And you got big directories. Today you have nothing. You just go online, you search for date of birth and phone number of celebrities, you find that also, right? So things have changed definitely. Nothing has changed as much as in the financial service industry and in the investing. With retrospect effect or with hindsight, I can tell you that in 1979 your 100 rupee investment in the Sensex would be worth about 1 lakh today. I am assuming a total return index. All the dividend got invested and you do not pay any taxes. This is in retrospect. Now, does it mean that in the next 21 plus 23, 44 years, you will see a 700 time growth, right? 70,000 is 100 into 700 is 70,000. Will you see such a huge jump in your portfolio? Extremely unlikely. Does it mean that in the US, again in the US and in India, one thing was very certain: all you had to do was invest in the index continuously whenever you had money for a long period of time. So whether you invested in 79, 81, 82, 91, 93, I skipped 92 because 92 would have been very traumatic investing. But if you had done a systematic investment plan, right from 1979 till today, with increasing the amount by 5 rupees or 5%, so 100 would have become 105, would have become maybe 111, 121, kept on increasing it by 5, 6, 7%, and you had just stayed on in the market, you would have made a lot of money. But I am saying this in 2023, in 1979 we didn't know this. Also in 2023 you can look at the Dow Jones and say, okay, 50% of the return is appreciation and 50% is dividend. That is also true. The question is, nothing was known before, and even today to think that, oh, you just invest in the US over the next 30-40 years you will make money, maybe you will not. Maybe the wokes and the communists in US will destroy US the way some of them are trying to destroy India, right? So you don't know what is going to happen. You also have to understand that the US got a free run. They could traumatize people, they could do regime change, they could tell India, you want to build the Hirakud Dam, very good, we will give you money provided you buy cement from us, right? In those extremely favorable circumstances, the US created so much wealth. In fact, all the literature that you see is to say, keep buying and you can't go wrong, right? Will it hold true from now onwards? That is the question which you have to answer. The answer seems to be yes. Equity will give you better returns than gold, real estate, or debt, right? There is enough reasons for me to say all that, but the question is twofold. Am I sure about it? Answer is no. Secondly, what happens if a new generation says, I don't want equity, it does not interest me at all, because equity is also taxed at 25%, bank deposits are also taxed at 25%, so there is no great tax differential. I am saying, assuming tax differential goes away. So maybe there will be a big set of people who will say, why should I take any risk? Is it worth taking risk and paying 25% tax? So will that happen? I don't know, but remember, a lot of these changes which happened, we have no clue that it would have happened. So can I say, look at the index, look at it from 1979 till 2023, or look at something like the Dow Jones, which you could get data which is much longer, maybe from 1871 to 2015 or 2023. It's a straight line going up. Obviously there will be some dips and going, there will be 5-year periods, 7-year periods when it has underperformed the debt market. So will people change the way they invest? Will equity start giving returns not so great? Will equity and debt returns start catching up? Right? So if you see from 1980 to 2020, 21, maybe even 22, interest rates in the US kept coming down like this, which means your debt portfolio went up like this. Now will the debt portfolio start coming down if interest rates start getting reduced again? Chances are yes. Chances are the portfolio value will go up, but what happens if the interest rates remains here for a longer period of time? We don't have answers to any of those questions today, and you need the answers today, because to say this would have happened is very easy, to say this actually happened is very difficult, right? So don't take market history for granted. For example, I was speaking at an investors association and I said, how many of us are ready today for a market where the Modi government does not get elected back in 2024? And the answer was, the whole class, the jaw dropped. I could see some jaws at the floor of the house. That's what happens. It's very traumatic for people to think of something which they have totally unprepared for, right? So people are human beings. So why should you assume that whatever you think will happen? Some things could go wrong. We are very unlikely to be prepared for such kind of stuff. And when you have some part knowledge of history, like all of us suffer from that. We have read some books, we have seen what has happened in the past in the US, what has happened in the past in India, and we sit to think and almost pontificate, saying, I know that in 1996 to 2002 this is what happened in the market, so market can go through a recession like this and things like that. It is still pontification. None of us really know what is going to happen in the market in the future. But the chances are that equity returns will be better than debt returns over long periods of time. You could still have a 10-year period when your debt funds outperform equity funds. There could be 5 years when the difference is dramatic, but you have to stick around with your asset allocation which makes you happy. Like I'm very happy with the 90% asset allocation in equities, right? So if you are happy with 10% in equity, so be it. If you are happy with 50% in debt and equity, so be it. If you think gold should be in your portfolio, so be it. If you think gold should be in your portfolio through a multi-asset fund because that makes it easier for taxation, so be it. If you think it should be SGB, so be it, right? Understand what you are doing, read history, don't take it for granted. The future is not going to be like the past was in terms of absolute returns and inflation adjusted return and human behavior. The way you behaved is not the way your son or daughter is going to behave. Let's say you didn't have much capital when you started, but you're seeing your son start with a 20 crores that you are going to bequeath, and he's also earning money. He's likely to turn around and say, look dad, if equity and tax and debt are taxed the same way, why don't I just put this money in a gilt fund and withdraw an X amount every year and pay the tax? Why should I keep postponing the tax for what? So why don't I work less? earn less, because my debt portfolio is also going to give me a good return, and I will pay some tax on it and live my life. Why can't I slow down my effect, my effort? Why can't I aim for mediocrity? I hear these questions, right, from people saying, I don't have to work as hard as my dad did because I start with a big base. I start with a 20 crore net worth. So why should I work so hard? Good enough a question. I do not know. I don't think I have the answers to any of these questions, right? First of all, it's not easy. Some of these things, but you will also understand going forward is, if you have to get high returns, you have to take some risk. But taking some risk does not mean you will get high return. This is very, very funny, because when you look at somebody and saying, oh my God, Dhirubhai Ambani took so much risk and he got this, there would be another 100 people like Dhirubhai Ambani who took that risk and did not make it. You don't hear about it. Success has a huge megaphone. So here you hear the sound all over the place saying, wow, Mr. Gautam Adani did this, Mr. XYZ did this, Patanjali did this, or Dabur did this. It's easy to see the success stories. It is the unsuccessful ones which you should see and see what went wrong, right? So this is all very important. Look at the election success of BJP. Then you ask yourself a question, what went wrong in Karnataka, and did BJP learn from that in Karnataka? And the answer is yes, they did learn from it in Karnataka. They learned the lessons of Karnataka. Look at Telangana, their vote share has gone up, and believe it or not, about 40-50 years ago, they must have had only that vote share in Gujarat. They start building on it. So take your past, read it, understand it, and build it. Don't think you can do a cut paste on that. That is what is going to hurt you. If you try doing a cut paste, that's what is going to hurt you. So understand that you will have risk, you will take the risk, you will get some awards, you will get some rewards, you will get some punishment. Learn managing all that. Don't just do a cut paste of my videos and think you can build your portfolio. You can't. In fact, using the same strategies which I used in the last 40 years, I won't be able to build a portfolio in the next 40 years. I will have to have new techniques and new things to do. Buying continuously was a fantastic success story over a 40-50 year period. Will it be the same in the same asset class in the same countries? Answer is, I don't know. Thank you.